The reach of automation is growing by the day, and it's being shaped by a variety of factors. It's now a common sight. Robots are hitting factory floors at numbers greater than we've ever seen before, helping to overcome the skilled labor shortage and creating efficiencies across a wide range of industries. Now, let's take a look at the next wave of great doers and thinkers in automation. It's time to get to the heart of automation, only on Made in America. If there's any company on the planet that knows robots, it's Vecna Robotics. The leading autonomous mobile robot company is working to maximize human productivity by delivering superior automation and orchestration technologies. And we're here in Waltham, Massachusetts to see exactly how they're making it happen. So Daniel, give me the origin story of Vecna Robotics. How did this all come to be?
Early on when I was at MIT, I worked for a lot of different companies, some robotics companies, a lot of software companies, but I couldn't really find anything that I could really buy into. And so eventually I realized that, if I was having such a hard time finding a place that I really wanted to work, that other people probably were too.
Right.
And so that is why I originally decided to found Vecna Technologies. And Vecna Technologies, you can kind of think of it like an incubator. We were doing lots of broad research and development and did a lot in the healthcare space. But the goal for me personally was always to found a robotics company that changes the world, empowers humanity with robotics. And it was just clear that the timing wasn't quite right for that, for a company to be scalable, profitable, successful, just selling robots at that time. This was 1997. 2017, so basically almost 20 years later, is when we finally felt like the criteria that we had set for the world being ready to scale with robotics were finally met.
Tell me about the facility that you have here. How do you use your space? How are you utilizing it? This is a place to be proud of for sure.
Yeah, well, the main thing we go for in this facility is to make it fun. And that might not sound like the right first answer to this, but having fun at work is paramount to solving hard problems. Our brains evolved to use their processing power on problems that we find interesting. And so many people show up to work and it's just work and it's not interesting. And what that means is their brain isn't engaged. And that means they're not going to come up with creative solutions. They're not going to solve problems. They're not going to figure out how to do things better than they were in the past. So our whole goal with the facility here is to make it a playground, to make it a place where people can come, have fun, be inspired, move quickly, and so we've got a lot of prototyping equipment so that we can try things really fast. I talked to the team about fail early, fail often.
What's next for Vecna Robotics? What's the future hold?
Our goal is to really empower humanity through this transformative technology. And we will be continuing to focus on being the unambiguous world leader in automated pallet handling, moving equipment. Our technology is so applicable to a wide range of things. What will happen tomorrow? Yeah. We don't know. And big stuff, as we've seen, big stuff can happen that has massive impacts on your business. So you have to invest in flexibility. You have to invest in this type of technology now, or you're going to get left behind.
So tell me about orchestration and interoperability. How important is that to the potential of automation and robotics?
It's super important because the scope of things that need to happen in a warehouse is extremely large. No one company, even our company, is going to solve all of those. So robots need to work together with each other. And this is something that we are hearing a lot from our customers too. How are we going to get this vendor's robots to talk to that vendor's robots,
right,
so they can efficiently hand things off and work together on the warehouse floor.
So how do you see automation and robotics really changing the face of factory floors these days?
Yeah, I think it's all about the flexibility and the resilience that they're going to offer to our supply chain. There are things that people are good at, there are things that robots are good at, and different robots from different vendors might have different specialties. So combining all those things together, letting them do the things that they excel at, and taking advantage of those, I think is really the way to get the efficiency gains that have been promised for robotics and that we see that are possible with robotics.
And that's also where obstacle avoidance comes into this, right? Which allows for these robots to work alongside human beings in facilities, right?
That's right. Kind of in one of those middle layers where you've decided you want to go down an aisle, but when you get there, you realize, okay, there's some pallets that have been left out in the middle of the aisle or other obstructions in the way, and the robot needs to figure out how to deal with those. Some less advanced robots might just stop and wait for a human to come and help. Our robots are able to sense those things, and they understand enough about the world to know, when they can go around something and when they can't go around something, so that they're able to, smoothly navigate around that obstacle and get back on path. It happens kind of at the mid layer, but being able to have this kind of stack, this hierarchy approach, lets you, swap in different sort of behaviors in those different layers. So maybe you have one behavior that lets you smoothly navigate around obstacles in a hallway. And maybe you have another behavior that lets you, go really fast down like a highway where there's no traffic, and it might be different. You might swap them in and out.
Okay, so this is obstacle avoidance. So you're telling the robot to go forward, and then it'll detect an obstacle, right?
That's right. Yeah, it sees an obstacle, it finds a path around that obstacle, and then it'll autonomously make its way around it, get to the other side, and then continue on its way.
And so what is it using to detect that there is an obstacle there? How is it sensing that?
Yeah, the robot has a number of sensors on board, 2D LiDAR, 3D LiDAR, cameras, other things. Some things don't show up in the 2D LiDAR because it's only a plane, so it might be below it, like the forks of a pallet jack would be below it.
Sure.
So we use a 3D LiDAR for those.
There's never been a clearer need for automation. As skilled workers retire or leave the workforce, there aren't enough humans ready to step into their place, particularly for the dull, dirty, and dangerous jobs that make manufacturing go. Enter robots. Automation is helping to empower human innovation and creativity, close that skilled labor gap, reduce operational waste, boost predictability, and empower manufacturers to meet ever-increasing demand head-on. But how can organizations unlock those benefits? The deployment aspect is something I'm particularly curious about. What are some of the keys, or maybe what's the recipe for a successful deployment in a facility?
It's a great question because it's obviously product quality has to be high. The deployment process has to be spot on, well scheduled, well coordinated with the customers. And that's all product and process related. The other aspect of this is the human aspect of we're bringing in autonomous vehicles into a facility, and for the most part this is the first time customers are seeing it, and maybe even more importantly it's the first time that the associates on the floor are seeing an autonomous vehicle. And we recognize that there's fear of automation, and that fear, some of it is grounded in, is it safe? Because our robots are designed to work alongside humans without being separated by a chain link fence, as an example. And all our robots adhere to industry safety standards, so they're fully qualified and safe to work alongside people. That's one aspect of it, but we have to make sure they feel comfortable around the robots and how the robots will work alongside them and how they'll interact with them. The other is this robot going to take my job, right? And we understand that. And so we hit that straight on, and we've developed a program which we call Hearts and Minds, meaning we want to make sure customers understand not only the quantitative aspect and the technical aspect, but what does this mean to the individual working on the floor? So this program is designed to train everybody who's going to be associated with the robots. That's executive management who are interested in ROIs, and what is it going to do for the operation and the productivity, middle managers, and then down to the floor associates who have to interact with these robots. So we train them on the safety of the robots, how to use the system. At the end of the day, we're deploying a system and a solution that increases productivity, that allows the humans to actually do better, more advanced jobs, as opposed to jobs that the robots can now do repeatedly and are more mundane. So we go through a very formal training process. We train everybody appropriately up and down the line. And we've actually carved out what we think will become a new job description in the industry called the robot expert. And this is an associate. It's usually somebody with a number of years of experience, or it could be a supervisor. We train that person to be our expert on site after we're done deploying. And so there's extensive training with the robot experts. And we train them on how to run the system, how to set the robots on missions, and how to just use them on a day in and day out basis. And because we run a 24/7 NOC center, and we're persistently looking at and observing the fleet at any customer site.
Right.
Because our job also is to make sure that that system is up and running and the customers are getting the return on investments that they're expecting. And there are times the robots need assistance. So we call them, or they call us, or the robot calls us. And then if we need to, we will interact with the robot expert, and we request a robot expert on every shift. So this job classification is an emerging brand new job description that actually could be an aspiring career path for somebody on a warehouse floor.
The reach of automation is growing by the day, and it's being shaped by a variety of factors. One of the biggest is consumer shopping, which is producing trends that will reshape the way that we think about automation. Robotics, just like these, are ready to revolutionize the way the supply chain can meet the growing demands of our online shopping carts and beyond. It's an exciting future, and one that's closer than you might think. While I'm in Boston visiting Vecna Robotics, my colleague Daniel Litwin is sitting down with Aaron Prather, Senior Advisor for the Technical Research and Planning team at FedEx.
Hey everyone, this is Daniel Litwin, the voice of B2B, coming at you from the Market Scale studio for a very special Market Scale interview for Made in America. Today we're going to be discussing some trends that are pushing the supply chain toward automation solutions, and more specifically, as framing, we're going to be breaking down how one massive shipping and logistics company, FedEx, is investing in solutions like Vecna's to assist in their supply chain transformation. And here to give us some perspective is Aaron Prather. He's a robotics and automation expert, as well as Senior Advisor of Technology, Research, and Planning at FedEx. Aaron Prather, great to have you on. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Daniel. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you again for your time. And I'm looking forward to breaking down FedEx's approach here to automation, and more specifically how you've integrated Vecna as well into your ecosystem of solutions. Let's start big picture. I want to hear from you and your view, sort of a state of the situation for the broader supply chain right now. So obviously the accelerated adoption of e-commerce and online retail since COVID has further transformed our supply chain, as well as set new expectations for the consumer, right? If you want it, you get it, and you get it fast. So I'm wondering, are we at a tipping point in the supply chain where, in your view, automation is no longer an option, but actually a necessity and a standard? Have we reached that tipping point yet, or do you think there's still more pushing to be done? What's your view?
We are definitely at a point now where automation is going to be key for the future of logistics. COVID definitely accelerated this. We're seeing volumes that pre-COVID we thought we would hit later in the decade. COVID just accelerated everything 3-4 years out, if not faster. So we are very much at a point now where our volumes are growing at such a rate that we need to automate, because there's just not enough folks out there that we can hire to do all this. And it's not just us at FedEx, it's UPS, it's DHL, it's Amazon. We're all seeing huge surges in our e-commerce shipments, and if we don't automate, we're just not going to be able to keep up.
Now, besides that COVID trend, there are also a lot of other pressures that are pushing the supply chain in this direction. This year, the supply chain was riddled with oversight inefficiencies, backlogs, decaying infrastructure, and that includes everything from roads to ports. So that's a laundry list, and I'm really just hitting the top 3 there. But I'm curious if you see these trends also pushing the industry towards automation solutions. So basically, give us that context outside of COVID. What is motivating the industry towards automation, and why?
We're seeing where everyone now knows how to order online. not to use COVID fully as an excuse, but grandma learned how to use her computer to order things online, and she's just not going back anymore. So we're very much in this point where we have to automate a lot of our processes from a physical and also a digital point of view, and also just look at the entire supply chain of how it's structured now. Where do we need to have certain things at certain times? Just in time as a supply chain solution has really been riddled over these past couple months. And now it is time to really take a serious look of onshoring manufacturing back to the U.S. How does automation play into that aspect? How does robotics and digitalization play into all this? And so, yeah, there are just so many things that are happening out there right now. And what's great is it's going to create a ton of opportunities for so many companies like Vecna and others in this space, because we're all rethinking how we do supply chain.
I'm curious how you see the rest of the innovative ecosystem of automation solutions supporting your robotics. So I'm speaking about blockchain integration, talking IoT devices, AI-enabled software or hardware. Basically, how do you see innovation happening around these tangential technologies, impacting and supporting your robotics investments, as well as just your broader automation ecosystem?
Yeah, great question, Daniel. We are heavily involved in those kind of technologies. We are actually part of many organizations that are supporting blockchain because it is something that is going to be very critical going forward. As I talked about earlier, the data around the package is becoming as valuable as the package itself. Using technologies like blockchain really help utilize that data more and secure it for our customers. Then you throw in things like IoT. We have so many of those devices around. Actually, right during the pandemic, we actually introduced one of our sensorware items where we can actually put a sensor on a package, and it's constantly sending information up to the cloud of, here I am, this is my current status. Some of them have temperature gauges on them, so it's very important, like for vaccine shipments. So we have huge investments in IoT to support those kind of initiatives. And then you layer on our robots, from our Vecna tuggers to our robotic arms, and how they're not only processing packages one after another, they're also able to send information up through the cloud and through our IoT systems for our customers to have that data as well. So it's all interconnected. It is amazing how big the ecosystem gets as we start exploring these different technologies and how we can actually integrate them in and support each other.
So there you have it. Vecna Robotics is empowering a new era of human ingenuity, one unburdened by the dull, dirty, and dangerous jobs we were forced to take in the past. How will collaboration between humans and intelligent automation continue to help upskill workforces, provide more rewarding work for human team members, and bring new efficiencies to industries and supply chains around the globe? That remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: Made in America will be there. Until next time.